everyone! We're so glad that you can join us for this year's Holiday Bible Club. You're all on your summer holidays and hopefully you're having a great time. Hopefully the weather's really nice with you. It's quite sunny here and we're really excited as you join us, and we're going to take a look at Luke Street. We're going to journey down Luke Street and look at some of the houses that Jesus visited and look at the people who lived there and see what happened. All the stories that we're going to look at this week are in the book of Luke. So that's in the New Testament. And you can find that if you've got a Bible. Hopefully you can find that yourself by using the contents, or maybe get an adult to help you and have a look at some of the stories in your own time. So Luke was a doctor and he was a friend of Paul. And at the start of his book, Luke says, "I've carefully investigated everything so that you will know that the things you've learned are true." Luke wanted his readers to know the truth about Jesus and know that it's for everyone. It doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter how old you are. Jesus loves you and he wants a relationship with you, and that's so exciting. So Luke wrote these stories so we can learn about Jesus and learn how he changed people's lives, and he still does that today.
A lady hid in the shadows and watched Jesus. She was all by herself because she had done a lot of bad things and nobody liked her. She thought that Jesus looked tired. He'd walked a long way along a hot, dusty road. Jesus was trying to talk to all the people, but a rich, fat man called Simon kept interrupting.
"Come and have a meal in my house, my man,"
he commanded Jesus. And Jesus went to his house. The lady followed. "Oh, I wish I could ask Jesus to my house," she thought. "But I'm too bad, and my house isn't good enough for Jesus." She only owned one precious thing, and that was hanging safely around her neck. It was a bottle of expensive perfume. In Simon's house, there were lots of good things to eat. There were dates and grapes and cakes and pies.
"Sit over there,"
Simon ordered Jesus. He didn't give Jesus any water to wash the dust away or kiss him in welcome. Simon's rich friends were there, and they were laughing at Jesus behind his back. The lady crept in. There was a crowd of people in the house, but only Jesus noticed her. He smiled at her. "Jesus is smiling at me," she thought. She came close to Jesus. She felt so sorry for the bad things she had done that she started to cry. Her tears fell on Jesus' feet. Everyone went, "Ooh," and "Ah," and said, "What a terrible woman!" She didn't have a towel. What could she do? She wiped Jesus' feet with her lovely long hair. She even kissed his feet and poured her precious perfume all over them.
"He's letting that wicked woman touch him," said Simon. "He ought to know better."
Jesus looked at Simon. "You asked me into your house so that you could show off to your friends," he said. "This lady has done much more for me than you ever have," he said. "Her love for me will never be forgotten." "Because she's done lots of bad things, she needs lots of my love," said Jesus. Jesus said to her, "All the wrong things you've done are now forgiven, so let's forget about them."
"Who does he think he is?" said Simon's friends. "Going around forgiving people?"
But Jesus said to the lady, "Go home to your house and be happy."
Hi everyone, Hope that you enjoyed that story and that you enjoyed the video. So today, the first house that we visited on Luke Street is the rich house. And the person who lived at the rich house was called Simon, and he was a Pharisee. So a Pharisee was a Jewish leader at the time, and he was a pretty important person. So he probably had a nice house, he probably had nice clothes, and he probably had lots of nice food and nice drink, like you saw in the video there. But the problem was Simon thought that he was better than Jesus, and he looked down on Jesus, and he didn't think Jesus was very important. And the second person that we meet in the story is a woman, and we don't even know her name. All it says is that she was a sinner, that she'd done lots of bad things, and that she had some expensive perfume with her. So in the story, the woman came up to Jesus where he was sitting to have his dinner, and she started crying all over his feet. And her tears went all over his feet, and then she used her hair to dry his feet. And then she got her perfume, really expensive perfume that she had, and she poured it all over his feet. And Simon and the other people who were at the meal, they didn't like this. And they were muttering and saying bad things about her, and they weren't very happy. And Simon thought, if Jesus knew how bad this woman was, then he wouldn't want her anywhere near her. He wouldn't want her crying all over him and pouring this perfume on his feet. But Jesus says that she's done a beautiful thing and that she has shown that she loves him. Now, I don't know what you think about this woman crying on Jesus' feet. It might seem a little bit weird. But I don't know if you've ever been to the beach. I actually went to the beach yesterday and I went for a paddle in the sea, and it was really lovely and the water was really cool. And then when I came out, my feet were really sandy and really dirty. And as soon as I got home, I went upstairs and I put the shower on and I washed my feet and I got all the sand off because it feels all horrible. And where Jesus lived, it was very hot and very dusty. And so it would have been normal when someone came into someone's house for dinner, you would have washed their feet because their feet would have been all sandy and all horrible. So you would have cleaned their feet so that they felt all nice. But Simon didn't do this. He thought he was too important and he was rude and he didn't wash Jesus' feet. And Jesus says that he didn't kiss him either. That was something that you did to welcome the person. Like you might give them a hug or you might shake their hand. But so Simon was really rude to Jesus and he didn't care about him. He didn't think that Jesus was important and he thought that he was better than him. But the woman loved Jesus and she recognised that Jesus was God and that he deserved everything and that he deserved her to worship him and give her everything that she had. And she cried because she was sorry, and she looked at Jesus and she saw how amazing he was, and she felt really bad for all the stuff that she's done. And so she poured her perfume on him, which was the most precious thing that she had. And people were looking at her and laughing at her, but she didn't mind because she loved Jesus and she just wanted him to know that she was sorry and that she loved him. And then Jesus said that she was forgiven because of her faith and told her to go in peace. Sometimes when we look at Jesus, we realise that we need forgiving. We look at Jesus and how amazing he is, and he's never done anything wrong, and it can make us realise all the bad stuff that we've done, and we feel bad about that. But we can say sorry, like the woman did, and Jesus will forgive us. So at the start of this story, Simon was the powerful person, he was the person in charge, it was his house. But Jesus saw that he was just showing off, that he didn't care about him and he wasn't very nice to him. And the woman who was nobody, she wasn't important at all, and no one really liked her or wanted her to be there. But she loved Jesus and she gave him everything. And that was more special to Jesus. So we don't have to be important. It doesn't matter if you're rich or if you're popular. Jesus just wants your love. He's not impressed by how many friends you've got or if you've got the latest toys or even if you're really clever or if you're the best at sport. He just wants us to love him, and that's what he cares about. So the more we look at Jesus, the more we see how amazing he is, and we see what he's done for us on the cross, and the more that we love him. So we're going to do that as we carry on this week, as we keep going down Luke Street and looking at all the houses that Jesus visited. We'll hope that you'll see a little bit more about who Jesus is, and why he's so amazing, and why we love him. So bye.
Hi boys and girls, so we are going to make a craft that goes alongside our story today, and the things that you're going to need is you're going to need Mod Podge glue or PVA glue. You are going to need a jar or a bottle. It can be anything. This is a jam jar, but you could use pasta sauce or anything like that. And then you're going to need all different colours of tissue paper. Okay, so I'm going to turn down the camera and we're going to get making. Okay boys and girls, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my tissue paper and I'm going to start just ripping little pieces off. Okay, so not loads, just take little bits, and they can be all different shapes and sizes. Okay, just rip them off like that, and do you know what, I'm going to store them in the jam jar until I'm ready. So I'm just putting them all in there. them all together. Okay. And this is going to be our perfume jar. Okay, so now I have all my different colours all ripped off and ready to put onto my bottle. So some of the pieces are quite big, so you might need to just rip them in half again. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to open our glue up. Okay, and dip our brush in. Now, if you don't have Mod Podge and you only have PVA glue, you might need to put a little bit of water into the PVA glue just to water it down so it's not too thick. Okay, so just put little sections onto the jar at a time because you don't want it drying out on you, and you want to be able to have plenty of time to add all your colourful tissue paper. So, and don't worry about it if it goes wrinkly. That just adds to it and makes it look a bit more decorative and gives it a wee bit of texture. Okay, so just add them all. Your fingers might get a little bit sticky, so just be careful. Plus you might need to rip off more, but don't worry, because you're doing it in sections, you'll have time to do that. Okay. So you can go up to your rim or you can go right up to the top. It's up to you. It depends how high you want, because you might want to keep your lid for your jar on. Okay, so now we can move on to the next section. Or if you want it to be a bit more authentic, in the Bible times it was probably made out of clay, and you could just do it all like in a clay, like browny orangey colour. It's up to you what way you want to do it. Okay, just keep working around the edges. Because my jar is round, it's rolling, so just be careful. You might need someone to hold it for you while you're doing this. Or you could prop it up with something to stop it rolling, like that. Now once this is all on, we're going to give it a coating of the glue, and that keeps it nice and shiny and smooths down all the edges as well. And the only colour I think I'm missing is green, but I don't have any green tissue paper. So hopefully you'll have some tissue paper, better colours in your crafty stashes. I'm gonna just go over, because this Mod Podge and PVA glue all dry clear, so once you go over the top of it, it'll give it a nice clear coating. Okay, so you can wait till you've got it all done to do this. It's up to you. I just wanted to smooth down some of my edges. Okay, and keep turning. Now, if you find it too hard to do it on the side, you can do it that way. But obviously I need to show you what it's like on the camera, so I have to do mine on the side. But if you find it easier, just stand the jars up. You could do a plastic bottle as well. The only thing is, I'm going to show you something that we're going to put in this later, and with a plastic bottle, it would be very hard to do. We're going to put a wee tea light, a wee battery operated tea light in it. This is just a wee visual reminder of our story. Again, I'm just going to give it a wee coating over just to get all my ends down. edges are sticking up, and hopefully it means it will not peel off. Now, you don't need a big thick layer of glue on this part, just a nice wee thin coat. Okay, so now you can see that the jar is really taking shape. Okay, so, oh, there's a wee gap there, I need to fill that in. Like that. Okay, so we're just going to keep going all the way around our jar. Okay, so whenever you get to that last little bit of section that you need to fill in, don't worry about it. We can cross over all the colours. So it might be easier just to put your hand inside the jar just to hold it like that. Or I'm sure if you've got a grown-up or a helper, they would be more than happy to help you with your project. So I'm just filling in these last gaps here. And then, as I say, you can just coat it all with your glue, whatever glue you're using, the PVA or the Mod Podge, it's up to you. Just give it all a good coating round. And then you're going to set it over to the side and let it dry. So I'm just having a wee look over it to see if I have any gaps. Obviously with the paler colours of tissue paper, it's harder to know if it's a gap or if it's just pale tissue paper. So just have a good wee look around it and see if you're happy with it. Okay, and as I say, because you're using PVA or Mod Podge, hopefully it should dry nice and clear and shiny. Putting that there. Just filling in all my wee gaps. Even if you look in the inside, you might be able to see if there's gaps, because the tissue paper is like on the inside. See if you look down in there, it's like a big rainbow, it's lovely. So I'm just going to let that dry, and then I'll come back on and I'll show you what the next step is. Now, if you don't want to do the jar craft, there is going to be this attached to this video. So this is if you're someone who prefers more colouring in. And again, you can colour this in whatever colour you want. And this again is just the outline of a bottle so that you can decorate it and cut it out. And then just you can put your own little bit of verse here, or your name on it, it's up to you. And then on the other side we also have outlines of feet, so you can pretend that they're Jesus' feet, and you can pretend that you're going to pour them on Jesus' feet. So that's another alternative to this craft as well. So I'm just going to let this dry, and then I'll show you the next step that we're going to do. Okay, boys and girls, so my jar is all nice and dry now, and you can see that the glue has left it with a nice shine on it. So you can see just how pretty that is. So the last thing you're going to do, well, two things you're going to do. Hopefully your grown-up in your house can help you with this. And this is just a little tea light that has a battery in it, so it's not dangerous. And you can pop that in there. And let me see, if I put something dark behind it, you may be able to see it glowing in the dark there. I'll bring it up to the camera. You might be able to see it just glowing in there. So this is really just a visual representation of the story, and hopefully you don't have to put your light in it. I just think it would be nice even sitting in your bedroom with that at night time. It'll be really pretty. So the last thing I have done then is I have got a nice shape of paper, and I've written Mary Announced Jesus' Feet, because that is what the story is about, and it was her showing her love for Jesus. And what she did was a really big thing, because in those days people didn't have a lot of money, and the perfume that she used to put on Jesus' feet was very expensive. So that was a very big gesture of her love for Jesus. So I just hope that you remember this part of the story, and by putting the little verse on it, it will help you remember where it is in the Bible if you ever want to read it again and to find out about it. So I'm just tying that on there, and it means that anytime I want to remember the story, I can look it up. Okay, so that is our craft, and as I say, there is going to be a colouring in craft attached to this as well. If you don't want to go with this kind of craft and you just want something a bit more simpler, that is an alternative for that, or for your helper to help you do. Okay, boys and girls, thank you so much for coming on and crafting with me, and I hope you enjoy it. Bye bye.